Magic Johnson, he was the prime example of not taking kindness for weakness because he was cold-blooded himself. Talk about that competitive nature that people, that gets overshadowed by his genuine
Well,
radiance.
I think that's right. I mean, I think they were fundamentally different in that way. I think Bird needed to hate you to play against you, and that needed to be his mentality. And I think Magic could joke around with you and be friendly with you before and after the game, but when you get between the lines, same thing. He's like, I'm out here to do work. I'm out here to beat you and beat you and absolutely stone cold blood, whatever cliche you want to use. That was Magic, And so I think a lot of these guys, look, I don't know how you think of great athletes or people who are great at anything, and you've developed your skill set through many hours and many years of working. It also, in my mind, you have to be a little nuts. I mean, who are we kidding? So I think if you get to that level, that you're not only a great player and you win that much, I mean, you have to be crazy. And I think they're both crazy in their own way. And I think Magic, and I think he'd probably admit it, like he got between and he likes to kind of talk about this juxtaposition between who's Magic and who's Irvin, and he thinks that Magic was this guy, like he gets on the court, he's so crazy, it's like he called himself a crazy man, and yeah, I think to get to the level that he was at, to be the point guard of a world championship team 5 times and to go to the finals 8 times, and to kind of run that kind of team the way he did for the decade of the '80s, and to be as competitive as he was, you gotta be a little different. Yeah. I don't want to say off, but you got to be a little different.
Exactly. Eccentric,
Eccentric, exactly. All the great ones, all the geniuses are, right? They're all eccentric.
That's right. And that's for sure. And the clips, the clips were amazing, especially of the finals, those 3 pivotal series in 1984, 1985, 1987. And I wanted to ask you, it's funny, the documentary didn't feature this, but the Memorial Day Massacre in the '85 finals. Now, Boston won the championship the year before. I was wondering, what's your take, like, when Boston blows them out by 30, it was
I think it's 34. I think it's 148 to 114.
114, right. So, the mindset, do you know the mindset of the
You're the only one in America, by the way, who actually remembers that game, and might even come close to knowing that score.
Wow, but it's amazing. Like, it's amazing how, like, talk about the resilience of the Lakers to come back from a blowout like that, especially losing the year before. Especially like from what you've seen from the clips and the footage.
Yeah, I mean they were a great basketball team, and I think they were really Magic especially was humiliated from losing in '84. He didn't play very well. It's kind of the first time he really choked, and sort of like in a big way, and under the glare of the spotlight. And I think he and Riley kind of really were focused and obsessed with beating the Celtics that year, not just winning, but beating the Celtics. I think it would have been much different had they got back to the finals and the Celtics weren't there. They were waiting for them. So I think they were so just prepared that them losing by that amount, in the first game, I don't think fazed them at all. In the same way they beat the Lakers in Game 1 the year before, and they lost the finals. I just don't think it fazed them.
Well, and then of course in '87, the Celtics were getting older collectively, a little bit older, and the Lakers were still. I think their prime players like Byron Scott was in his prime,
and that was their best team. I mean, right, we were kidding that '87 team, and so you're right. They were, it's like the best Celtics team was '86. And the Rockets beat the Lakers that year, so we didn't get to see. So arguably, the Celtics probably would have beaten them that year. It would have been 2-2.
Right.
And so then, as you said, the Celtics were getting a little older. They had a lot of injuries that year. Right. And so even though it was a 4-2 series and Game 4 was very close, I mean, the Lakers were big favorites that year. So I think it wasn't like '84 and '85.
One last question about, what really exhibited the friendship was when, of course, Magic announced that he had the HIV virus, and Bird, it really took him out. So, just talk about what both gentlemen talked about how their reflections on that situation.
So when Magic got the news, I think he wanted to make sure before he had the press conference and told everybody there's certain people that he needed to tell. So, knowing that there'd be people asking them questions. So he had his agent, Lon Rosen, kind of get in touch with Jordan and Isaiah and Bird and a couple other people. and yeah, and it really did. And when Bird got that call, I think he really was, well, incredibly shaken up. I think, and this is conjecture. I don't even think he realized how much Magic meant to him until that moment. I mean, I think he knew how he obsessed about him and he kind of needed him there and all that. But it's almost like, and what's so deep about it is I think he really went to this place very quickly. He said, he thought about, when his father died, his father killed himself. And he thought about the only other time he's felt the way he felt when he heard Magic what was announced with having HIV was the day his father committed suicide. And that's the immediate link, which is, here's this guy who's my father, who he, despite his issues, clearly loved. And it was the traumatic event in his life that when this guy you play basketball with, and granted, like, I know you're joined at the hip as far as the way people think about you, but yeah, that he obsessed about, that he wanted to beat, and he was his measuring stick. And all of a sudden this guy, and in 1991, you get a phone call, and basically you're being told this guy's going to die. And I think it just, I think it really shook him up. It did shake him up, but I think it probably shook him up more than he even understood that it would possibly shake him up. So I think he was completely blindsided by this. And, so as a result, he really wanted to kind of said, I got to talk to the guy, I want to call him. And, it really, on the one hand, isn't that big a deal. It's like, okay, so he wanted to call him and say, you're going to be okay. I just want to tell you that. However close were they, but and at that point, they were friendly. They weren't best of friends, but, they certainly shared this place. And they, at that point, the relationship had thawed. They, and I think it just meant a lot to, I think it meant he needed to talk to him because I think he's just like, this guy's a part of him, whether he realizes it or not. And I think for Magic, because Bird's so reticent, because Bird, never really, betrays much as far as, emotionally and how he really feels. I think for Magic to get that phone call from him really meant it touched him in the sense that I think this was Larry for the first time in a lot of ways. It's like, oh, you really do feel this for me. Like, I'm the one that's always been the aggressor when it comes to, I want to be your friend, I want to be nice, I want to be this, and Bird's a little bit like, and so I think
even after that conversation,
and even exactly, and so I think it just really touched him that here's this guy that he didn't really know how capable he was emotionally of doing and making such a gesture. And so I think that's really kind of whatever their relationship was, if it was friendly, I think that kind of like solidified their bond, forever. I think it doesn't take that much, little things here and there, and that was it.